First up, Islam Makhachev's training video has everyone shocked. And guess what? Conor McGregor just responded to Donald Trump's comments. Plus, it looks like McGregor might finally make an appearance on Joe Rogan's legendary podcast.
I can't imagine how that could ever happen, but if it did, that would be fucking fun.
Meanwhile, Alex Pereira has broken his silence after his tough loss to Magomed Ankalaev. And speaking of Ankalaev, he's making huge waves not just in the UFC, but back home in Dagestan too. So much more to cover today, so let's jump right in. Guys, we have to admit that Alex Pereira has built a legacy that puts him right up there with some of the biggest names in the sport, like Khabib, Conor, and even Jon Jones. This was crystal clear when Bruce Buffer introduced him as the one and only at UFC 313.
I think Bruce Buffer should announce Alex Pereira as the one, the only. He's one of the men that deserve it, so.
Pereira has made history by becoming only the 9th fighter ever to win UFC titles in 2 different weight classes. At 37, he's not just a role model for his kids, but an inspiration for up-and-coming fighters as he approaches the sunset of his incredible career. Pereira recently reflected on his journey after suffering his 2nd UFC loss. He posted such an emotional video on Instagram showing his growth from his early kickboxing days all the way to his latest fight in the octagon. In the post, he shared a powerful message about legacy. How do you want to be remembered? As a good son, a good father or mother, a good person? Then go after it without being afraid to make mistakes. Pereira's coaches are not happy with the decision at UFC 313. In a video posted on Pereira's YouTube page, his team made it absolutely clear they disagree with the judge's call.
Teve essa derrota aí que, na minha opinião, igual o Patan falou, vamos ver a luta de novo, mas, na minha opinião, ele ganhou. Fala pessoal, tô voltando aí, mais uma aí, né? Quem assistiu a luta aí, o Globo tava naquele fone ali pra ver, a gente acha que o Patan ganhou. Pra mim foi 3-5 de Patan, mas infelizmente não foi o que os juízes acharam, então a vida é assim.
Pereira also reflected on the loss and confirmed that they're already talking about the rematch.
Pessoal, é isso aí, voltando pra casa. Acho que a gente fez um excelente trabalho, não só nessa luta. A gente vem evoluindo bastante, né? O time, um aprendendo com o outro. Então, estou muito feliz. Claro que deu o resultado que eu esperava. Estava muito confiante com essa luta. Estava bem pra luta, treinei bastante. Eu acho que aconteceu algumas coisas, mas eu não quero dar desculpa, né? E eu sei que a gente vai ter essa revanche, já tô conversando já, né? Com tudo que eu fiz, né? E da forma que foi a luta, muitas pessoas contestaram ali e ficaram na dúvida. Eu ainda não assisti a luta.
After his shocking loss to Magomed Ankalaev, fans are desperately hoping for a rematch, even though some have criticized Pereira for what they called a lazy performance. Ankalaev has already said he's open to a rematch, so let's hope it happens. But he warns that this time the fight won't go the distance. Ankalaev also achieved something huge for himself and brought immense pride to his home region of Dagestan. Dagestan's leader actually gave Ankalaev the Order for Merit to the Republic of Dagestan. For those who don't know, Ankalaev is now the 3rd UFC champion from Dagestan, following in the footsteps of legends like Khabib and Islam Makhachev.
Anyway, this is a big test for him, and there's a lot at stake for multiple reasons. Number one, he's defending his UFC light heavyweight title. He's doing so against the guy who a lot of people consider to be his kryptonite, his boogeyman, Magomed Ankalaev, who only has 1 loss in the UFC. He's a very tough fighter, a somewhat, unheralded, unknown fighter, but he's got the style that a lot of people think will give Alex Pereira fits. They think he's going to make the fight dirty. He's going to take Pereira down. And so when this fight first came out, when it was first made official, he opened up as a favorite, but that line is going down, and I tend to believe that a lot of people are kind of overlooking Pereira. I think Pereira wins this fight, and I wouldn't even be surprised if he knocks out Ankalaev. If Ankalaev is too focused on the takedown, he's going to get caught, and if he stands and trades with Pereira, he's going to get caught. So I think that you should proceed with caution if you think that Ankalaev is just going to go in there and out-grapple and frustrate Alex Pereira. I say there's a lot at stake here because it feels like if Pereira gets by Ankalaev, there's some big fights.
With Islam Makhachev constantly evolving his skill set, fans and fighters alike are left wondering what new techniques he'll bring into the cage next. Makhachev is famous for his signature choke, a technique he's absolutely perfected and frequently uses to dominate his opponents. Fighters step into the octagon knowing exactly what to expect, yet they still find themselves trapped. It's like facing a crocodile. Once Makhachev locks in his submission, escape is nearly impossible. His ability to execute this move with such precision and dominance has made him one of the most feared grapplers in MMA today. Recently, a video surfaced online showing Makhachev playfully experimenting with a new choke during training. One fan hilariously commented, "Man is just experimenting with new ways to put people to sleep." Another observed, "That choke is typically used on shorter opponents. Looks like he's getting ready for Ilya." Meanwhile, Tony Cannoli wrote, "Islam's strength is remarkable. That smile and laugh just proves he knows how much power he has. He could suffocate you with just his hands. Insane." Regardless of all the discussions about his training methods, one thing remains absolutely certain. Islam Makhachev's grappling prowess is unmatched. In a recent interview, Donald Trump expressed his admiration for Conor McGregor, calling him his favorite Irish fighter. This statement quickly caught fans' attention, especially given Trump's previous praise for Khabib as his favorite fighter. However, Trump was specifically referring to his favorite Irish fighter.
He's got the best tattoos I've ever seen. I don't know if I'm a big, but that.
The Conor McGregor. Conor.
You have Conor's great, right? Talking about Conor, but you have a lot of great Irish fighters. Actually, they're great fighters. I don't know what that is, but Ireland's always had a lot of good fighters. You know why? Because they're tough people. They're smart people and they're passionate people, and they really have been over the years. So many. I think your father was a great fighter, right?
He was. He did.
Wow. And yet, look at you. You're so smooth and so.
He's a very good defensive boxer.
He was a really good.
He was a good boxer. Yeah. Boxed for Ireland. Boxed for Ireland. And
Yeah.
boxed some very good guys.
Genetically, I'm not going to mess around.
McGregor wasted no time responding, tweeting, "Thank you, President Trump." Since joining the UFC in 2013, McGregor has cemented himself as the biggest star in MMA history and one of the sport's greatest fighters. Given his massive worldwide fame, it's actually surprising that he has never appeared on Joe Rogan's world-famous podcast, which has featured countless MMA fighters over the years. However, McGregor has now hinted that he's finally ready to make his long-awaited debut on the Joe Rogan Experience, tweeting, "What's up, Joe Rogan, my man? I messaged you. Are you looking for a guest on the podcast? I have a great one for you." Rogan hasn't responded yet, but fans are already buzzing about this potential episode, which could absolutely break the internet.
When I first heard about Conor from the internet, which is where you hear about everything, right? There's some wild, brash dude out of Ireland that was kicking people's asses and doing it in spectacular fashion. And whenever the internet, when I get tweets, "Hey, you got to check out this fighter," I'm a big fight fan, so I love watching fighters that I've never heard of before in other organizations. And we're in a rare time right now in mixed martial arts where there's so much talent from all over the world. There's so many fighters that you maybe never heard of before, but are extremely talented. And then they just burst on the scene. And I saw Conor's first fight. I saw a clip on the internet of him finishing somebody, and then I watched a series of his fights. And, he's got that thing.
It sounds like you're in love with Conor McGregor here. And I'll be straight with you. From what I heard, he's actually out there right now.
Tom Aspinall recently made a bold claim on TikTok saying that John Jones is scared of him. When asked if Jones is afraid to fight him, Aspinall simply replied, "Right."
Is true or false with me, Tom Aspinall?
Pavlovich was the hardest puncher I've ever faced.
False. I think maybe because I was expecting him to punch hard. He didn't hit me that many times, so it's hard to say.
I'm the fastest heavyweight in combat sports.
True.
I can speak fluent Polish.
Nie jesteś gruby teraz. Co się stało?
False. I wouldn't say that I'm fluent. I can hold a conversation, but in my opinion, fluent is where you're basically never thinking about it, so I'm not at that level.
To be a fighter, you have to have a nasty side.
True, to a degree. Yeah.
I could beat 2 flyweights in a fight, Eddie Hall style.
Depends on the level of the flyweights, to be honest. If they're like UFC level, false. Amateur level, I think true.
I will get a face tattoo.
False.
Dana White is the UFC's biggest star.
True.
I don't give a
I can eat whatever I want because I'm a heavyweight.
False, so false.
Speed is more important than power.
True, true.
And finally, John Jones is scared to fight me.
True. We'll see.
Right now, a fight between Tom Aspinall and John Jones isn't officially scheduled, but UFC President Dana White has said he's pretty confident the two will face off this summer. Fans are definitely excited about the possibility of this epic matchup. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We would be so grateful for your support.